Hi everybody, this is Tarot Ingi, and today we're going to talk about Five of Pentacles. This is a card for being shunned in many ways. It's about being maybe an outsider or not being part of a community, maybe even being an outsider in the family as well. There is a lack of support seen in this card, and it's often due to the seeker either being too original or too different from their peers, and they end up completely on the outside of where the norm is or where the group consciousness is heading. And often what happens in this card is the seeker end up experiencing lack of support, low energy, maybe there's just no confidence or self-esteem as a result. It can also mean that they have problems earning money. So then there's a problem with paying bills, and they're being left out in the cold. There's often a feeling of being unloved as well. And it takes a toll on the seeker's immune system. They could have also suffered injustice as well. And they're being kind of targeted in some way of being of little value to society. And so it can also speak of the seeker's mindset either leading to financial loss and hardship or as a result of financial loss and hardship. So there's no security, but often it's more the health and the self-worth of the seeker that is suffering the most. So maybe they have a lot to give, but because they feel so different, so kind of ostracized in many ways, shunned even, they are unable to enter into society in a way that can help them out of their hardships. It can mean that they have the mindset of poverty, isolation, or they have gone through something that left them with this mindset or experiences. So it can be a bit of a vicious cycle to break out from. So this again, same with Four of Pentacles, look at your relationship with money and self-worth, so that you make sure that how you feel about yourself is not materializing in a lack of in your 3D reality. If you are networking with people of low vibration or hanging out with people with low vibration, they might be dragging you down. Ask yourself if you're able to help yourself, because this is a very psychological card in many ways. It's like, it's if you can help yourself, then that's the remedy to all of your problems, because it's actually the need to prove to yourself that you're capable. And also sometimes this card shows up as a bit of a warning to look at your finances before it becomes too unmanageable. Pay your bills, do affirmation around money, and improve your situation one step at a time. Because this card often shows up in the seeker is things are getting out of hand, and the seeker often feels like they need to prove their worth in some way, so they go above and beyond and often break boundaries or have their boundaries broken in a way that then cause problems for them later on. In a love reading, this card can speak of a relationship where the seeker feels unloved, and that they're not being seen, they're not being appreciated. If they're single, then it can mean that they just feel unlovable, worthless. They believe no one wants them. They could be very depressed. They could feel low emotionally. They could feel out in the cold. They have all these beliefs about relationships. So it makes it almost impossible for them to manifest love unless they change their mindset. They could attract partners that just confirms or reaffirms what they already think about themselves. Maybe they are kind of choosing partners that are very exploitative, that is no good for them, that's not giving them anything of substance. In a career reading, Five of Pentacles can mean that they are relying on help and they're unable to help themselves. So maybe they are getting welfare, maybe they are in a job that's not paying very well. Maybe they're working for nothing, but they're on some sort of working for the doll scheme. It can also mean that they're depending on charities a lot. They can also mean that they feel completely unsupported in their role. It can mean that they're doing social work and working for charities as well. But a lot of times this card can speak of just being unsupported. And that the career path you're on, if you get Five of Pentacles, it's not going to lead you to where you need to be. You need to look at a change in your career. It's a more likely a no and a yes no, simply because Five of Pentacles is a bit of a roadblock. It's there to tell you to stop, think, reassess. If you follow this path, it might not end very well unless you have a massive change of heart in an area of your life. And it's the area where you let people step on you. So look at where you allow people to walk all over you. As feelings, this card speaks of feeling low, feeling unloved, feeling invisible, feeling that you don't even exist. No one cares, no one understands. If you're asking how someone feels about you, it can mean that the person you're asking about feels that maybe that you don't see them. Maybe maybe that they feel like they don't mean anything to you, or they need something from you, but they're not getting it for whatever reason. Maybe they're unable to sustain themselves emotionally. Maybe they're projecting a lot of issues on you. They need to find some peace within, and often the key here is forgiveness. Five of Pentacles as a personality type speaks of someone who's an outsider, someone who often ends up at the bottom because they feel rejected by society, and they end up unfortunate because they live a loop of negative thoughts and negative beliefs. So they could feel like something is vitally missing from their lives, and basically what they need is to be a bit more optimistic and see the meaning in what they're doing. They often try to overcompensate because there's a lack of self-worth. So even if they're in a role that's really positive and meaningful, they go way above and beyond and wear themselves out. They break boundaries. They let people break their boundaries. They end up being self-saboteurs. And Five of Pentacles is people who just maybe didn't have anyone really showing them what it's like to be loved. So maybe they didn't grow up feeling loved, and it became a very negative pattern of basically self-loathing in many cases when the Five of Pentacles is concerned. Five of Pentacles reversed can speak of someone who also, on top of having material hardship and lack of self-esteem, there's also a lack of friendships in their lives, and maybe also their spiritual beliefs don't support them either. So there's more negativity basically. So maybe they just are unable to integrate wherever they are. So they're just completely feeling, whether it's reality or not, the feeling that they're just on the outside of everything. It can be an increased level of poverty and debt as well in the Seeker's life. It can speak of unemployment, the inability to find work or to start a business. Can mean that they're being closed down, that there's some disaster going on that affects them. So it could be that, for example, their debt is getting out of hand. Maybe there's bankruptcy looming. Maybe there's loss of income somewhere. So what the Seeker really needs to do is to go back into the Four of Pentacles energy and focus on finances and getting their material life in order. And whatever they're seeking outside of that must be taken care of at a later stage, because at the moment what is needed in Five of Pentacles reverse is to take care of the basics basically before attempting to achieve at a high level, because there's almost like the Seeker is experiencing some kind of spiritual bankruptcy as well, and they need to be more practical about things. Five of Pentacles as a personality type, when it is reversed, it's someone who is unable to form friendships, and maybe they're just antisocial. Maybe they have a lot of social anxieties. Maybe they believe that they need to buy friends, or they need to have stuff to have friends, like that it's a material thing, that they're not going to be accepted. So this is someone who has low self-esteem, but when it's reversed, it's almost like they're a bit lost in the pity of it all. So it gets more harder to break free. And the self-sabotage often ends up more extreme, because it's almost like the Seeker has given up when this card is reversed. So let's look in the runes. You want to get the essence of Five of Pentacles. You get the upright meaning when it shows up. You get the oracle mixing. You get the runes to tell us this is oracle mixing. Okay, so there's a lesson here in, so I get Gebo. So the runes kind of fell flat. And then there was a rune at the bottom, but it didn't really show itself. It was evils, but it was kind of face down or almost down. And that was at the dip. So it's almost like the secret is, you know, it's flat, but then there's like a dip. And then it's flat again. And then just before the dip is Gebo. So have a look at your relationships when Five of Pentacles shows up. It could be relationships that are bringing you down. Then it goes flat again, but then it's a little bit of an elevation, and it's Sovelo. So it's very important to remember that when Five of Pentacles shows up, is that if you're experiencing this now, it is temporary. And it's usually with Five of Pentacles due to the company you keep. And if you can keep yourself stable and be more discerning on the company you keep, then success will follow and you will be elevated above this energy. But the company you keep is extremely important with Five of Pentacles, because there are people around you, and you get this card, that will drag you down and they will exploit you. So that's the most important thing, is to be around good people. That means that you might have to cut people out of your life, or at least set a new standard on your boundary, because it could be a belief that you have, so that people kind of react a certain way as well to your energy as well. So work on those boundaries so that people don't get to pull you into the pit, you know what I mean. So that's really important when Five of Pentacles shows up. And the next card I'm going to do is Six of Pentacles. Bye!